Hi there, my name is Wolf the Asian Yen Bear. You can't see me, I am omnipresent, and I am now your god. All jokes aside though, this is a bit of an update slash introduction slash draft analysis, whatever you want to call it. It's kind of going to be all three of those. So, really quick, our topic today is the Global Fan Association, the GFA. I mentioned it in the update video yesterday, and I wanted to go more in depth on that today. Like I said in the update video, I promised a little bit of draft analysis, and we're going to get into that. So, really quick, before we begin, our team is the Orlando Magpies. Don't forget that, Orlando Magpies. So, really quick, what the GFA is it's basically fantasy football meets Pokemon, or vice versa, whatever you want to say. You go in, you have coaches. These are the players. 16 coaches with 16 teams to draft Pokemon the same way you would draft NFL players, or I don't know. Do they do fantasy basketball? If they do fantasy basketball, basketball players, and hockey, whatever. I don't know sports very well. But basically, you would draft Pokemon like you would draft people, and they're assigned season contracts in the GBA, which is sort of what this is based off of. You may have heard of the GBA. It's the Global Battle Association. There's some pretty big YouTubers in there. Shady Penguin, Gubstacular. I mentioned a few of these. Swaggleth, Magnitude. There's some pretty interesting people, and I really, if you do get a chance, I would definitely recommend checking out the GBA as well. But this is made by fans who's basically based on the same thing, and the only real difference is that when we drafted Pokemon, we didn't have season or contract lengths like in the GBA. Like, you know how if you were to be a coach of some whatever team, you draft players into your team and they're signed for, I don't know, they're in a contract of like 3 years or something like that. Here we don't have that, just because we're not sure how well this is going to go. And if it does continue on, I think we're going to have contract lengths as well. So as you saw before, our name is the Orlando Magpies. Everyone has a very sportsy, fancy Pokemon name thing. I'll go over a couple of them as we go through their teams, but we are the Orlando Magpies, based on the Orlando Magic. I wanted to do the Orlando Magic card, but that was already a thing. So instead, I chose the Orlando Magpies, and I don't know, I have a thing for choosing these like cute, adorable mascots for some reason. Little baby Pokemon. So last thing I want to talk about is basically everyone goes head to head against each other. Oh, I did not mention. When we do draft Pokemon, we're drafting 10 non-Mega and 1 Mega Pokemon, and that is common knowledge, and that's where the interesting thing is. Everyone knows what everyone drafted on their roster, and each week when you go up against a team, you have to sort of counter team them and figure out what 6 Pokemon out of their 11 they're going to bring, and they have to do the same thing for you, and then you have to go figure out what 6 are best for him to bring for the 6 he might expect from me, vice versa, and it's really interesting. There's a lot of thought that goes into these battles, and I think you're going to find the matches are very, very intriguing. And that being said, as far as the playoffs go, it's basically the finals of a tournament. It's exactly like that, and I'm sure some of you guys who may actually know sports might find that a little basic, but like I said, I don't know it very well, so I figured there's probably some of you guys that don't either. So our goal is to make it through the playoffs and get the championship for bragging rights, and I don't know what else, but mostly for bragging rights, because that's really fun. And yeah, it's gonna be some great matches. So moving on, moving on to the actual draft itself. All Pokemon that were in the draft were every OU and below Pokemon, and Aegislash and Greninja as well. Now, I kind of went into this draft thinking, yeah, there's no way in hell I'm going to get Aegislash or Greninja. I planned specifically around not getting those because I figured, hey, those are going to go the first 2 picks. And unless I am extremely lucky and get like the number 1 pick, I'm not getting that. I'm definitely not getting both. So my plan here was I wanted a very strong wall core, and I wanted something that people went in and go, oh crap, I don't know how I'm going to break through that. And so my goal was to get Chansey Cresselia, just because I love the fact that Chansey is just this kind of unbreakable special wall. I mean, yeah, it's a little weak on the physical side, but it is really amazing. And you saw really quick when I went down there, spoilers, that we got that round 1. And then I wanted Cresselia because it did resist the fighting, and we've used it several times, and it's a fantastic wall. It has amazing stats, and it goes both ways. And then my other thought was I wanted something really strong to punch holes in, like punch holes in things. Like Kyurem Black was my goal, just because of its massive attack stat. I wanted to be able to have something that was either a late game cleaner, a wall breaker, and that was the plan I went in with, and then everything else would revolve around those. So I end up getting a little bit unlucky, and I end up with the last pick in the draft. The way the drafts work is it's snake style. So I got the last pick in the first round, which meant I got the second pick in the second round and the last pick in the third round, etc., etc. And so all my picks were made in tangent. In tangent? Is that the word I'm looking for? It might be. But if it is, anyway. So when I'm talking about these, keep in mind that I did make these picks simultaneously. So our round 1 pick, I lucked out. The first thing I wanted was Chansey, and we ended up getting that. I was a little worried just because through the chat for the couple days before the draft actually started, a few people had mentioned Chansey, and a few people were talking about how good Chansey was. I was worried that the value would go high enough that someone would pick it. Thankfully, no one did, and I was able to grab it. And then something also peculiar happened. It's morning. I'm having trouble pronouncing things. Peculiar happened. I ended up getting, for my second round pick, Aegislash. I don't know how it made it all the way through the first round, but it did. There were some really... I mean, Greninja made it down to the 13th pick out of 16 teams, and that was really surprising. Like I said, I wasn't anticipating getting Aegislash. I was just going to get Chansey and Kyurem Black. But, I mean, as it was going on, we had someone pick Latias, Rotom Wash, Kabutops, Slurpuff, Crawdon. Like, some of these picks were a little questionable for the first round. But later on, when you see the teams, you'll see they do kind of fit in. We had Skarmory, Darmanitan, Scizor, Weezing, and by like Weezing and Tyranitar in the 10th pick in that first round. This round took kind of a while. It's hard to get everyone in the same place, but by that time I went, holy crap, no one has chosen Greninja and Aegislash. Greninja does not fit for the team I wanted, because I wanted like Mew, and I wanted Togekiss, and I wanted a bunch of other things, and it was just too frail for what I was planning. Although Greninja is amazing, don't get me wrong there, but I wanted something, like if I had a chance, I wanted to grab Aegislash. So I started, like in the 10th pick of that first round, I was starting to think, okay, maybe I'll get Aegislash. I'll have my fingers crossed, and maybe I'll get Aegislash. And it goes down, we get someone picking Swoobat, Tyranitar, Talonflame, great. Greninja, there's the Greninja pick, and I go, okay, 14th pick, 15th pick, 2 people in front of me. They're probably going to pick Aegislash. That's kind of a power creep. Talonflame, Greninja, someone should pick Aegislash. Someone picks Dragonite. Then someone picks Conkeldurr, and I realize, holy crap, I get Aegislash. I got Aegislash, so I had to pick that up because there was no way in hell that thing would come back to me. And I said, all right, you know what? Kyurem Black has kind of a lack of diversity in its move pool. It's a little undervalued in OU. Maybe it'll come back to me. So we go back through, second round goes through, people pick Milotic, Breloom, Landorus, Incarnate, Latios, Excadrill, Primate, Politoed, Tentacruel, Suicune, Keldeo, Meowstic, Ferrothorn, Mew, Kippy chose Mew from me, and that kind of grinded my gears for a little bit, because that was one of the mons I was really looking forward to having, just for the fact that it is so versatile. It's amazing. So I had to sort of replan my strategy around then. I still was going for my Cresselia, Kyurem Black, but all the other mons afterwards I kind of had to readjust after that. But someone picks Ferrothorn, Sylveon, Fortress, Chandelure, however you want to pronounce it, Muck, Mamoswine, Volcarona, Raikou, Jolteon, Donphan, Gudra, Bisharp, Azumarill, Landorus T, Slowbro, Thundurus T, Gliscor, and then we get to my pick, where I was able to get the 2 mons I told you about, Cresselia and Curum Black. Now, without spending too much time, I went to actually talk a little more about the value in all these mons. I got a little bit caught up in the actual draft itself, but Chansey I really wanted. It's super bulky. It can pass wishes. It has healing. It can stall out. It can even set up rocks. Like, this thing has a ton of good utility, and I really wanted it for that reason. And the fact that it's just this amazing wall in OU. My voice is cracking so much today. Jesus. So, yeah, it's just this amazing wall in OU, and I really, really think it's going to do well. Aegislash is Aegislash. It's a bunch of versatility in one. It has, when it goes in blade form, 150 attack, 150 base special attack. It has in shield form 150 defense, 150 special defense. It can go defensive, it can go especially offensive, it can go physically offensive, it can go mixed, it has priority. Aegislash is Aegislash, and it's amazing. Cresselia, look at those stats, look at the HP, defense, and special defense in particular. They are almost even. I can make it physically defensive, I can make it specially defensive, and I wanted my opponent to be able to look at my team. This is a big reason why I picked the mons I chose, and you'll see later on. I wanted mons that you could not tell if they were going to be physically offensive, especially offensive, physically defensive, or especially defensive. And I wanted my opponents to look at my team and not be able to wall it and not know what my walls were going to be. And I think Cresselia is really, really good in that regard, given the fact that I can make it physically defensive, I can make it specially defensive, I can make it specialized to the team I'm going to face. And I love the flexibility with that. And you'll see that that's really something I valued in this draft. Curum Black is freaking Curum Black. It has 170 base attack. It has Outrage. It's a dragon type. It is also an ice type, which is kind of the weakness there. But it's also got really great bulk, like surprisingly good bulk for what it is. 125 base HP, 100 defense, 90 special defense. It's a little bit slower in the 95 speed category. But it also has workable special attack, so I can make this mixed. I can make it specially offensive, and I can make it physically offensive just to be amazing. Okay, spoilers. So, 4th round plays out. Florges, Clefable, Terrakion, Thunderous Eye, and around the Terrakion pick, I think it was somewhere a little bit later in that round. It was late at night, and I believe it was Dorkman who was talking about that. I think that's, yeah, because it's on his team. He was mentioned. My team came up in the discussion. I was kind of away playing Smash Brothers, but I was paying attention to the Skype call or the Skype chat, and I wasn't really typing anything. And I realized they were talking about my team, and Dorkman said, "Oh, well, it's fine. I'll just bring Terrakion and just destroy his team," which I had to think about for a minute and go, "Fuck, I am weak to Terrakion." Cresselia is weak to the X-Scissor. Aegislash, Aegislash can be taken care of with Earthquake, Chansey with Close Combat, and Curum Black with Close Combat. So I had to sort of fix my giant fighting weakness. My giant rock weakness as well was something I was really worried about with the draft I had planned. Had like 3 rock weaknesses. So I did end up fixing that, but I realized I need a fighting type. I really need a fighting type, and I need something that is good against Terrakion and good against just other fighting types as well. So in my draft, it went after Terrakion, someone picked Thundurus, Amoonguss, Nidoking, Kingdra, Porygon Z, Mandibuzz, Heatran, Trevenant, Staraptor, Snorlax, Klefki, Toxie, Croak, Rotom-H, Porygon 2, Moltres, Jellicent, Tyrantrum, Vaporeon, Scrafty, Weavile, Lantern, Ludicolo, Zapdos, Empoleon, and then Togekiss got sniped for me. Togekiss was going to be my plan for a fairy type because it's amazing. I don't know if you guys have noticed it yet, but I love using Togekiss. Togekiss is a defogger. Togekiss can flinch people like freaking crazy. 60% flinch chance is amazing. with combine that with Thunder Wave, and your opponent isn't moving, and I love Togekiss for that, but it did get taken from me, so I kind of had to quickly figure out what my Fairy type would be, because that was going to be my answer to fighting types. Togekiss is 4 times resistant to fighting types, and I wanted something that could really, really take a fighting hit. So Cofagrigus Blissey gets taken, and then I get my pick, and I pick for my fighting type to help handle the rock types, Infernape. Infernape is an amazing mon in and of itself. I needed some speed, so having that 108 base speed is great. And I love the fact that it can go mix. It can go physically offensive, it can go specially offensive, it can go both. And it has a really diverse move pool as well. It can even set up rocks as well if I want to lead with that. Like this is a really good mon, and I like that a lot. And I think that's really gonna help. I think it neutral, maybe super effective to rocks, but I think it's totally worth it because it helps also handle the fact that I needed a fire Pokemon as well to help handle some steel types. And then with my 6th round pick, I chose Gardevoir. Wow, there's a round 6 listed right there. I didn't have to count. I chose Gardevoir. Like I was saying, I needed a replacement for Togekiss to handle fighting types, and Gardevoir just was it. I think it was a tie between Gardevoir and then Diancie was the other one I was thinking about, just because I like Diancie's base stats. I've never really used it, but it didn't have enough of a diverse enough move pool for me, so I actually just went Gardevoir instead. Gardevoir has Trace. Gardevoir has some good abilities with Synchronize and Analytic. Well, it doesn't get Analytic. It gets, what was the one? Telepathy? Yeah. And while this does not have the best physically offensive attack, it doesn't need it. Gardevoir is a great fairy in it's of its own. It's a little slow, but I think that's definitely a good price to pay for a good fairy, especially when most of them had been taken by now, with like Florges and Clefable and Togekiss all going. I think there was some other ones, Slurpluff, Azumarill. They were all gone at that point, so I really thought Gardevoir would be the best pick for me. So it goes on. We have someone picking Haxorus, which is amazing. Alakazam, Arcanine, Dragalge, Mienshao, Honchkrow, Roserade, Gengar, Magnetone, Crocodile, Heliolisk, Hydreigon, which I have no idea how Hydreigon made it to the 6th round. There's a lot of Pokemon that I realized I have no idea how it made it to certain rounds that it did, but props to those who picked those up. Hitmonchan, Ambipom, Metagross, Manaphy goes in the 7th round. Manaphy goes, and then Cloyster goes. Now, Cloyster was something I really, really wanted. I was planning on having Togekiss, Cloyster, and then Skuntank. Don't ask me why Skuntank, for Defog and Rapid Spin support. Because I really didn't want to have rocks. Like I said, the team I was planning had like 3 Pokemon weak to rock. So I really wanted to have something to remove hazards. And with Togekiss gone, my plan was, okay, I'll just get Skuntank for Defog and Cloyster for Rapid Spin. And Cloyster I really wanted as well because just it's a really good win condition if you can get it set up. I realized that when we were playing Dex Live episodes, and just it's amazing. So I really wanted to get Cloyster. And when that went away, I realized, crap, I need Rapid Spin really, really badly. Because I did not want to be reliant on Skuntank. No offense to Skuntank, but with its base stats, I didn't want to be reliant on that for Defog and for hazard support. So I wanted to have at least a second option as well. And with Cloyster gone, the only real thing that made sense was Blastoise, arm cannons. That thing, I didn't realize it until after I was writing down its base stats. But it can actually go mixed. I did not think about that, but it's bulky. It's a bulky water type, which is fantastic. It was either going to be that or Starmie, and I already had Aegislash, Cress, both weak to Dark, Gardevoir, Cress, and Aegislash weak to Ghost, and I didn't want to add another weakness there on that, as well as I think a weakness to Bug. So I didn't want to add anything more to that, and Starmie had too many weaknesses for me. But I was able to pick up Blastoise, and that's what really made sense. And I'm glad I picked that. But it gets Aqua Jet priority. I haven't seen its physical moves outside of that yet, but I'll take a look at that, and we'll see what happens with Blastoise. Maybe you'll see me run a physically offensive Blastoise at some point in the future. And then, as well, I was sort of hurting for speed. And throughout this whole draft, I was kind of thinking, okay, I'm gonna need a fast grass type, and I was really torn. If you ask David, the creator of the league, he'll be able to tell you. I was messaging him my picks and stuff. I wasn't sure where I wanted to pick this. I was almost really close to picking it in the 6th round, but I realized Gardevoir was really more important. I needed a fast grass type, and I was going to pick either Superior or Sceptile, and it was really hard picking between the two. Superior provided me that extra win condition, but Sceptile just can go mixed. It's fast and it's fantastic. So Superior actually got taken early on in the 7th round, so it kind of made my decision a little bit easier. But I still wasn't sure if I wanted to pick up Sceptile or some of my other picks beforehand. But I ended up settling on getting Sceptile in the 2nd round. Now, looking at its stats, it's not very likely for it to go mixed, but then you go and you look at its move pool, and it has a fantastic both physical and special move pool. It's got amazing speed and Unburden. And did you know that Sceptile actually outspeeds Greninja after an Unburden boost, which I didn't know yet until I was looking at speed stuff. And so yeah, that's gonna be super helpful throughout this whole shebang. So basically, Sceptile goes, and now we start getting into the 8th and the 9th round, and some things are people just picking up things to fill in some holes. You got someone picking up, actually the 8th round was pretty solid, but in like the 9th round, you have people picking up things like Grand Bull, things like Zygarde, stuff, Probopass, things that fill their holes in their teams, and I was no exception. This is a Mon you guys know that I actually really like. If you've ever seen, I think every once in a while on the Tumblr people ask me this, one of my favorite Pokemon is in fact Nidoqueen, not Nidoking, Nidoqueen. I like that it takes more hits and such and such, and after Mew was gone, I was really hurting for something with coverage moves. I needed something that I could really tack on certain moves, depending on who I was facing that week, and I needed something with enough of a diverse move pool to do that. And while looking at my team so far, there were a lot of options for typing wise. There weren't a lot of options for just coverage. And so that's where we get to my next point of Nidoqueen. It's sort of, it may not be Mew in versatility, but it still has a ton of things in its move pool. It has fire, poison, ground. Sorry about that. Electricity, ice, poison, fighting if you count superpower, and it's just a whole bunch of stuff. It gets sheer force. It's fantastic, and it actually has a higher base attack than special attack, so I can easily run physically offensive if I need to. And you know, if you've been paying attention throughout this 23 minutes of this video, you know I value the fact that being able to switch your attack stat at will. And then we get to my last pick, which there's a reason why I saved it for my last pick in this draft. You kind of would figure out it's Skunk Tank. No one was gonna take Skunk Tank, and I mean I guess I undervalue it as well, but it's not exactly the bulkiest. It doesn't exactly hit the hardest, but it does have a good move pool. It can go mixed. It can go physically offensive. It can go specially offensive. It has a great ability in Aftermath, and it gets defog. So just having an extra thing of hazard support and defog support really helps me out for when I'm going to need it. And so that concludes my non-mega rounds. And then we get to the actual mega round. We find out our draft around this time, our draft order. And after the terrible luck of the RNG putting me at last in the non-mega rounds, I end up getting 2nd in the mega round. And I realized I had planned for maybe getting like 5th or 7th, and I had like a bunch of just okay megas. I was trying not to rely too much on having a mega in my team. I know you might know from some of my Wi-Fi battles that that's not something I always do. But when we had the prime choice for megas, obviously we weren't going to get Mega Metagross. I think Hang on, who got that? I think it was Patrick. I'd have to double check, but the guy who had first in the Mega Draft basically all but told us, hey, yeah, I'm picking up Mega Metagross. Because Mega Metagross is really, really strong. But for me, it was not the pick I wanted. Just for the fact that it gave me another Ghost, another Dark Weakness. And I did not need that. So I thought, okay, what's the next biggest just like win condition? Because again, I was suffering for extra just win conditions. My team could really wear the teams down and definitely trade 1-for-1, but I wanted something that could just sweep. And I thought about it, and I looked, and having been following the actual GBA for a while, there was only really one that stuck out a ton to me. And it was a tie between this and then having something that helped balance my team a little more in Mega Sizzler. But this was too good to not pick. Mega Pinsir. Mega Pinsir is amazing. I'm not even sure if I have to tell you guys why it is, but I will just in case. It gets priority, it gets Swords Dance, it has amazing attack, it has Aerial 8, and people don't like to talk about Mega Pinsir a lot just because of the fact that it is weak to rocks. But given that my team at that point, having made the changes I did, and every time I got sniped, I feel like my team actually made, the changes I had to make to my team actually made it a little bit more well-rounded. And I really am not that weak to stealth rocks other than this guy. So I felt really comfortable bringing this guy in. It's amazing late game. I can use it mid game just to wall break. I can use it, I can lead with it if I want to just punch holes in things with a fantastic return. And so I think you'll definitely be seeing a lot of this guy throughout the whole thing, the whole battles and such. So there's our team. There's all 11 Mons, and then I'm going to go over everyone else's team as well, just really, really quickly. So hopefully this won't take too long. First we have David with the Toronto Staraptors. Now his team definitely is good for his playstyle. He definitely does not like hazards. You can see he has 2 defoggers, 1 rapid spinner. He got straight power with Beedrill. Metagross is definitely going to do well for him. Sylveon, there's nothing I really disagree with. I think that Sneasel is the one thing that sticks out to me, and that thing was picked 10th round. So that was picked last, and I think it definitely rounds out some of his team as well. Provides much needed ice coverage. Just because the only other thing I think he has to hit flying types is maybe Ice Beam from Manaphy, Stone Edge from Flygon, and Thunderbolt from a Rotom. So it definitely provides him a little bit extra coverage against flying types. Gives him good grass coverage if he doesn't already have that in Hawlucha and Rotom. And really just, I think that does actually round out his team pretty well. And worst comes to worst, he might drop that in free agency. But I really like this team. I think it was definitely some mons I would not have picked, but I think it was definitely things that are going to work well for him. And I do think that they synergize fairly well. And he got Mega Beedrill, which is just, it's powerful. That thing is the epitome of a glass cannon. I would almost argue that as far as glass cannon wise, it's more of a glass cannon than Greninja. Like, this thing is so frail, but it punches holes so hard. So, really quickly, give me 2 seconds. I want to make sure I have the draft list in front of me so I am not messing up any names. I'll be right back. Like I said, I'd be right back. So, looking at the draft list, pulling it up right now, we have Survive 9 of the Dallas Starus. This is the guy that picked up Cloyster from me. Now, this thing is not exactly accurate yet. We do have free agency. If you guys don't know what that is, basically, at the end of the draft, once during the season, you are able to drop a Pokemon from your team and pick up something that wasn't drafted yet, or that someone else dropped. And the Articuno here was actually dropped for Scolipede. Now, looking at this team, I think A lot of us didn't exactly agree with the Venomoth pick in the second round, but looking at the team now, I think it definitely works. He talked a little bit about Quiver Dance Baton Pass, and I think that's going to definitely sweep someone, especially if he passes that to something like Chandelure or Rotom. Chandelure especially, if that thing gets a little bit extra speed, that could make a huge difference in this whole thing. And then you also have Cloyster, which, as I talked about earlier, it's a win condition. If that thing gets set up, it's amazing. It's really, really hard to take down. It gets priority, and with Skill Link, you can't just bring in something that's fast. It's gonna kill you. And then he's got some really great walls in Porygon 2, Mega Altaria, which really undervalued Mega, but I think it's amazing. And then Klefki, which Klefki was a very interesting pick. He can go with screens, Prankster. He can go with he can make it spikes, iron defense, Klefki, foul play. Just it can be a wall. It can just be set up. And I think he also I don't know if it was him that talked about this or someone else, but he definitely has the potential for screens in Uxie and Klefki. And then he's got that really fast lead in Ambipom. And then Shaman and Rotom and Chandelure are just good Pokemon. There's not much to really say about them, they're just really good. Moving on, we have Kippy of the Pittsburgh Parasects, who by far had the most interesting draft. He went in before the draft and told us he's only going to pick Kanto Pokemon, and he did. And I think a lot of us really are going to underestimate him, but he picked Pokemon he's very comfortable with. He's definitely a Gen 1 guy, and I can't really disagree with too many of these picks. Maybe Moltres, Kabutops maybe, but I think definitely, oh, and maybe Mr. Mime, but I think they work well together, and I think it's going to be very interesting to see his matches. I'm going to be very interested to see them. I definitely think he can pull it out, and I definitely think it's going to be hard to prepare for this team as well, just because a lot of the stuff is things that you don't see normally. You don't know what to expect on this team, and I like that fact. I like that he has the element of surprise, and I think he could definitely do well. And I'm going to be really interested to see your matches, Kippy. Next, we have Arnold of the Bridgeport Panchams. I really like this guy. He's a really great guy. We both actually have Pancham as our mascot, and I thought that was kind of funny on our channels. But this guy had a pretty good draft. The only thing I would disagree with would be the Charizard, but that was a 10th round pick, and so really I can't say anything bad about that. It definitely works, I think, for his team, provides him the fire coverage he needs. And one thing that was really that was questionable as well in the chat, a lot of people were kind of curious about it, was Slurpuff being picked in the first round. I don't think anyone really agreed with it, but I think Unburdened Slurpuff is not really something. Was it Unburdened? Yeah, Unburdened Bellydram Slurpuff is not really something to sleep on, and I think he definitely proved he wasn't just drafting Crapmons throughout his draft. You see, you got Hydreigon, Staraptor, Mamoswine, Gallade, Ferrothorn, the powerhouse in Mega Manectric. He's got Espeon to help prevent hazards, and he's got the Gillescent, just bulky mustache man. It's fantastic, and Ferrothorn, who's a great wall in and of itself. So I definitely think he proved himself in the draft, and I'm interested to see his matches as well. Then we go on to SFJ. I believe SFJ of the Miami Dolphins, which, by the way, this guy, I already have to give him props, because in the Mega Draft, he picked up Mega Swampert, and there had been a rain team already started by Patrick of the Atlanta Altarias. You'll see that in a bit, but we had all been talking about how someone has to pick up Mega Swampert, but nobody wanted to. But SFJ took up the mantle, picked it up, and I got to give props to him for that. It was fantastic, and it really is going to help us with the matchup against Patrick of the Rain team and make sure he isn't too OP. And given that, he also has the potential for Rain in Meowstic, and I think in some of these other Mons that I think not a lot of people are going to expect, and I think he isn't reliant on Rain. I think it just, if he does set that up, it could really prove helpful for him. He's got some very interesting picks. Is this all up to date? Yes. Okay. I thought he might have dropped the Vileplume, but I wasn't sure. But yeah, he's got the Volcarona, which along with Cloyster was one of those mons I was really considering. Again, it is also a win condition. Once you set that up, it's very hard to stop. He's got stuff like Tyrantrum, which its hidden ability I think is out now, and so he's going to be able to go for those Reckless, or I think it was Rockhead head smashes, just and destroy people with that. People are going to have to be prepared for it, and I don't think enough people know about the hidden ability to really prepare for it yet. And it'll be interesting to see who forgets about it and who sets up their team ready for that. And he doesn't even have to bring it every week. Like, that's one of those mons that just, if he decides to bring it, it could do really well. And he can set up, he has actually a couple setup Pokemon, and also Crawdon as well. Get that Dragon Dance, gets priority, gets knockoff, stab knockoff, and yeah, that's going to be a good one as well. And I like this guy's team. He's got good walls. I think it's very well rounded, and I can't wait to see how he's going to put it all together. And I can't wait to see him sweep with the Rain team at least once. Hopefully not against me. Then we get to Charisma of the Seattle Skarmories, who I can't say anything bad about this guy's draft. I can't disagree with really any of the Pokemon he drafted. He picked up, it was Charisma that picked up Mega Metagross. He got the first pick, grabbed Mega Metagross. Throughout the draft, he picked really good mons, starting with Skarmory, just moving on. And yeah, I don't know what else there is to say. He's got good power in Keldeo, Crocodile, Raikou, Entei, possible Trick Room, and Riunculus. He's got some good walls in Skarmory, Heatran, Tangros, and Vaporeon. Definitely he's going to be able to pick and choose what he wants per week, and he's definitely going to be a threat that people are going to have to watch out for. Especially Entei with those Sacred Fire Burns. Just sacred. I love your vids. But anyway, jokes aside, then we have Eric of the Miami Heatran, who his draft was good, and I think it would have been better if there were some conditions, and he was a little bit busy throughout the draft, and I think he did end up missing a few of his picks, and he had to come back and get them later. I think, is this right? This is not right. Give me a second. No, never mind. I'm talking about MacMan. Wow. Eric had a great draft. MacMan is the one I was thinking about. Eric of the Miami Heatran. I grabbed the spreadsheet just so that that kind of stuff wouldn't happen. But Eric of the Miami Heatran, he's got a pretty good team. He's got Suicune, Mandibuzz, lots of bulk, with Magnezone, Slowbro. He's got some really hard hitters in Darmanitan and Superior. Nice setup in Zygarde, as well as Scrafty, which a lot of people don't really think about Scrafty as much just because of the double fairy weakness, but I think with the Moxie boost, if he gets that going, it's going to be definitely hard to take down. Only two picks I would slightly disagree with are the Hypno and the Munchlax, but I think he has a reason for picking those. Munchlax was taken in the last round, so I can't really fret too much about that. I've seen that it does wall fairly well with the Eviolite. The Hypno, though, is the one thing I would disagree with. I'm sure Eric has a reason, and I'm sure Eric will show us that reason in his matches. Moving on to the one I was talking about before, MacMan. Now, he has a very threatening draft, but I think it could have been even more threatening if circumstances had been a little bit different. He was really busy throughout the whole draft period and wasn't able to come get some of his picks until later, and so he definitely did get sniped on a lot of things. We were talking about it, and I think, though, he still came out with a very powerful draft. He got, first things first, he got the Scizor, the Tentacruel Core, which really complement each other well. He's got just, you can see it on your screen, just fantastic power. I'm not even sure what to say about this guy. He's got just such good mons, and he ended up picking, he was the last in the Mega draft, and he ended up getting Mega Lopunny. I don't know how nobody picked Mega Lopunny. It's amazing. And just, he's got Porygon Z, he's got Zoroark, he's got Victini. Victini just breaks things. V-Create, base 180. It's a base 180 attack. It's amazing. So yeah, this guy is definitely going to be a threat to watch out for. We'll see what happens with his team. Now we have Patrick, the one I mentioned before with the freaking rain team. This guy early on set up his rain when he picked Politoed, and then just everyone was aware of it. Everyone paid attention. Some of us tried to grab water mons that he would want to use, and it's definitely, he's one of the known threats here. Everyone is kind of afraid of the water team or the rain team, and we're gonna see how well he does, because just once he sets up rain. And I think he also as well has almost the option not to bring rain. It seems like he's almost not mandated to, but it just would really help him to bring it every week. But I think in the worst case scenario, he can operate without it. Then we go to Shuckle of the New Orleans Pidgeys. His draft was one a lot of people questioned, and a lot of people are going to underestimate, but I think one that's definitely going to prove itself throughout this whole, throughout the whole thing. He picked Swoobat in the first round, and I think a lot of people were questioning that, but I think with Simple Calm Mind, he's definitely going to be able to sweep at least one person. He picked up Nidoking, he picked up Primeape. Some of the ones I disagree with a little bit, but I'm glad he picked up Ludicolo before Patrick could. He definitely, I think the Mega pick he picked was, although Mega Audino, I would definitely not pick myself. I think it really does help a little bit with his Fairy weakness. He is a little bit weak to Fairy in Primeape, Kyurem, and Honchkrow. But he's got Bisharp, Nidoking, and now Mega Audino to help handle that. He's also got Ninetales, so if he does want to set up a Sun team, he can. I don't see a lot that benefits in the Sun, but I think he definitely has that option, especially to shut down Patrick if he wants to bring Ludicolo and Ninetales. I think he definitely has a lot of options here, and I think a lot of people are going to sleep on him as a threat. So we'll see how well he does. Moving on to Adamant of the Halifax Honchkrows. He started off very early getting a Sandcore. He grabbed Tyranitar, he grabbed Excadrill, and we were all worried. That thing with Sandrush, Excadrill is amazing. And with Tyranitar to set up the sand, we were a little bit concerned. And then later on in the draft, he picked up things that worked well in sand, and then he picked up some things that, like, they worked well in sand, but they could also stand alone as well. And I think he has the versatility that you have to be prepared for sand, but he doesn't have to bring it every week. And I think that's super important with a rain team. Like with Patrick, he could bring his team without rain, but it would kind of be a disadvantage to him. Here, Adamant does not need to worry about that. If he brings rain, or if he brings sand, it'll help him. If he doesn't bring sand, it'll still be good for him. He's not going to be at a huge disadvantage here, and he's got the bonds that really balance everything out. And I think sand is one of those weathers that you can run more things that aren't super reliant on the weather. He's also got the Amoonguss as well as Excavalier for when he faces Patrick. Definitely help shut down that rain team. And then now we have Andre of the Golden State War Turtles, another big threat team, picking up Talonflame in the first round, and then just never stopping picking up some threats. There's nothing I really disagree with here. I think Hitmonlee was one of those mons that I wouldn't normally draft, but he needed a Rapid Spinner. He's got 2 Defoggers, definitely trying to make sure hazards are not on the field for that Talonflame. And really, just a great draft. Nothing I super disagree with, and I think he's definitely going to be another threat. Mega Venusaur, one of those things someone has to be prepared for. If you do follow with the GBA, the Cleveland Excavaliers just recently got swept by a Mega Venusaur. It's because it's just one of those things you don't expect to be a threat. You expect it to be a wall, and a lot of people don't realize it can be both. Our 14th or 13th team is Dorkman, another giant threat team. He picked up Greninja first round, he picked up Landorus Eye, and just kept going and going. Magneton was his last round pick. That's the one thing I think would be a little bit questionable, but given that it was the last round pick, he needed something to trap Skarmory. I think the only thing else he had to deal with it was maybe Slowbro with Thunderbolt and Arcanine with fire moves. This was before the Mega Draft, so he didn't have the Charizard then. And so I think definitely picking up Magneton is really, really clutch in that situation. And he also picked up Pangoro, which just makes me happy. And he picked up Mega Charizard X. Just that thing is good. I don't have anything to really say bad about it. And this whole team is just really good, really threatening. Then we have the actual 14th team, the New England Patriots, coached by Marcelo. Again, just another threat team. He picked up Dragonite. He picked up Breloom, Clefable, Alakazam. He's got some nice walling power and Cofagrigus. He's got that Diggersby, though. He's got walling power and Slowking. Charizard Y is amazing. He's got the Prankster and Whimsicott. He's even got the chance of Sticky Webs that people are going to have to be prepared for. And just, there's a lot to say about this team. And we're already running long on time, so I don't want to spend too much time on this. But just, it's a good team. It's just a really good team. Not much else I can say about it. And then Clooney of the New England Primates, our first battle, actually. And this guy picked up such bulky threats, and that's a little scary. He's got the Gliscor, he's got the Florges, Milotic, Conkeldurr, Malamar, which a lot of people don't worry too much about Malamar, but I do. I've used it before, and I really like Malamar. He's got the Bliss. He's got the Blissey. My voice is cracking so much. It's so bad. And the Mega Gardevoir. I think the only thing I would question maybe was Garbodor and Magmortar, but I mean, I'm going to battle him soon, so we'll see how that fits in as well. And Magmortar is actually a pretty good threat once you put a Choice Specs or a Choice Scarf on it. It's pretty good. The Garbodor, I guess, is the only thing I'm really questioning, but we'll see if he brings it, and we'll see how it works. And that's actually all the teams I just went over. It took like 20-30 minutes. But here is the last thing I have to talk about today, is the schedule for who we're going to battle, when we're going to battle, whatnot. All the battles actually start today for week 1. We're facing the New England Primates. I showed you right here. Talked about it. And we have that battle by the 23rd, I believe. The 23rd. And I think that match is going to go up either that Monday or the Tuesday right afterwards. So the 23rd or the 24th. I haven't figured it out yet. We haven't had the battle yet. But I've been putting in my prep work, and we'll see how well that works. Second, we've got the New England Patriots. Again, against, I believe, Marcelo. I think that's Marcelo's team. Yes. We are going up against Marcelo's team. Again, a big threat. It's going to definitely be a hard match. As well as with Clooney. Like, we're not getting off easy here. The Golden State War Turtles are going to be our third week. Going back up to it. Right here. Again, another threat team. The Talonflame team with the Mega Venusaur. We are not getting any... there are no matches here that I can say are going to be super easy. We've got San Diego Charizards, the Greninja team. And then lastly, we have the New York Mantines. Right here. You see that. You see all the threats we're going to take on, and it's going to be very interesting. I'm going to put in the effort and make sure I'm definitely studying these teams, definitely being sure that I'm not going to get swept entirely by every team that we face. I think we do stand a chance. I think we've got a really good team. So I hope you guys will be cheering on the Orlando Magpies. And definitely look forward to that next week. It's going to be a weekly thing. I'm going to do my best to make sure I get that to you guys. So until then, leave a like if you're excited for that. If you've stayed through the entire video, let me know in the comments. I mean, it's been almost 50 minutes, so I applaud you for that. And outside of that, I hope you guys have a great day. Subscribe if you want to see these videos. I'm going to be leaving the links to everyone else's channels as well. You'll want to check them out, see the other sides of the battles, see what battles I'm not participating in, because it's always going to be interesting, and I'm going to be interested to see their opinions. I'm going to be watching them. I hope you guys will be too. And I'm going to get out of here before I continue rambling. So once again, I hope you guys have a good day, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.